Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
This is the college football show. It is week 9 opening lines. A lot to discuss, of course, because I would think that the Big Ten comeback was successful.
I think so. I think it was a lot of fun.
We did have a good time. Very entertaining ball games. We had big-time teams with big-time wins. You had Rutgers get a win for the first time. All that good stuff. We're going to talk a little bit of a recap here in a minute. But before we do that, and before we dive into these opening lines, of course, let's go over exactly what you need to do to be able to get in touch with us and keep up with us, etc. First off, go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. We got a fantastic team. I would say the best team covering college football in all of media.
I think so.
You feel good about that?
Oh, yeah.
We're a part of that as well.
But pulling down the average, but I'm okay with that. I'm known for setting the curve pretty low.
This is true. Along with the website, make sure that you like this video. It's the little thumbs up button right down there at the bottom. Like the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We do this on Mondays. We do our picks/deep dive show on the biggest games of the week on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we do our closing line show. We kind of give you an idea of where the lines have gone throughout the week. We talk about the biggest games. We talk about all the games, really. I mean, every game. It doesn't matter. We will discuss all of them so long as you guys are there and in the chat and discussing what is going on. So make sure that you comment, leave your thoughts, ideas, etc. We want to know where your edge is this week because we could have used it last week. I will tell you that. Had some guys that told me I was going the wrong way on a few things. Really wish I'd listened. And maybe I will this week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll go from there. Along with that, do yourself a favor. I know everybody here likes money, right? That's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to win money. Well, what if you could win more money? Go over to sbrpicks.com/pick6. That's P-I-C-K and the number 6. Link is down in the description right there. That is where you can go and win $1,700 in cash prizes every single weekend. Now, you're picking games in the NFL, in college football. You can do one or the other or both, whatever you want to do. Go check it out. It's free to sign up, very easy to do. That is sbrpicks.com/pick6. Now, before we jump into this recap, let me go on and tell you, we're not going to be able to hit every game. We have a bunch of conferences planned. There's only 2 that have not started yet. Once we get into November, those 2 start as well. It's going to be crazy trying to fit it all into a less than an hour show. We're going to do our best. We're going to pick the games that we think that the majority of you want to listen to, and then we'll just go from there. If you guys want to reach out to us, you want to get our opinion on a game, you can reach out to us on Twitter. I am at GaryWCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And we will do our best to answer questions. We'll tell you which way we're leaning. If we don't have an opinion, we'll just kind of give you a lean, a whatever. Hey, I don't know if I would take that because of this. I had a lot of guys asking me about Memphis last week on, hey, Memphis is going to kill Temple, right? They hadn't looked good. And I said, Memphis has never covered against Temple.
And they still
have never covered against Temple. Now, they got the win, but they did not cover. So that is the way it goes. So make sure you follow us on Twitter, and we'll do our best to help out. We answer every question. We do our best.
We'll get back to you.
So jump on in and knock it out. Let's talk about the Week 8 recap right quick. And it was a fun weekend. I will say that. There wasn't anything that was like earth-shattering, I would say. Nothing major that came out of it other than Alabama wide receiver Jalen Waddle going out with an injury. And that's not like
that Indiana win, that final play is.
Oh, that was massive.
That's going to go down in history as a pretty epic finish.
Yes, I would say so. That wasn't earth-shattering because there were a lot of people that believed that Indiana could get that win.
Okay, true, but it was just the way it finished,
yes.
The way it played out. Like, it shut down the internet for a while.
It certainly did. I will say that. Indiana looked okay. I mean, Tom Allen going for the win there, that was pretty cool. James Franklin, his time management issues rear their ugly heads again. That whole issue with not just downing the ball.
Yep.
They tell you over and over and over again, don't score when the other team is letting you score.
Yep.
There's a reason they're letting you do that. So either way.
It is funny that he came out today and said, I think 99.99% we would have won had we gone down. That's not how math works. You would have won had you gone down.
Yes.
Like, I think I can give you that extra 1/100%.
Yes. You would have won.
You would have won. That's how math works.
I mean,
I can't change math.
Yes, it's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Ohio State looked really good. 52-17 demolition of Nebraska.
I believe I had that.
Yes, you most certainly did. Oklahoma State 24-21 over Iowa State. They got me by the hook.
I know.
Got me by the hook. Iowa State scored with like a minute left, a little less than a minute left.
A little garbage time. A little backdoor covering.
Notre Dame demolition of Pitt. They are back in the good graces of the bettors and of the sports books and everything else. They are a pretty big favorite again this weekend, and we are now looking ahead to November 7th.
That's it.
When Clemson comes into South Bend. So we will see if they continue their run when the Tigers come into town.
That's a little different.
Liberty moves to 6-0, and they got a week off this week.
I was just about to say, they're not on the slate.
They are not on the slate this week, but they do have Virginia Tech next week.
2 weeks to prepare. That's so crazy.
It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. And the last thing I wanted to bring up in our little recap here, Auburn. Auburn with a botched call again. This is 3 weeks out of 5 that they have had, that they have been a benefactor of officiating miscues, we will say. Is that a good way to say it?
That's an appropriate word that you should use on our partners with SBR show. That's a better word than what I would use.
It is ridiculous that this continues to happen. But I will say this. There are only so many times that you get to use the lucky rabbit's foot.
Man, I don't know. I don't know. This might just be one of those years where you just keep betting Auburn because you know they've got the horseshoe firmly implanted inside their rectum.
I mean, it's possible. But I will tell you this. I feel good about your Tigers this weekend going down to Auburn.
That makes one of us.
So, we will see what happens. Let's go ahead and dive into the card for this week, and I am pumped about it. We'll start on Thursday night. Thursday, October 29th, we got 2 games. We got rotation 103-104, Georgia Southern hosting South Alabama. Georgia Southern opens a 6.5-point favorite, total of 53.5. And currently, it is still sitting at 6.5.
Yeah.
So I see one spot that's up to 7.
Yeah, just open. So
Georgia Southern had some issues with their quarterback Shai Werts being out in the game against Coastal. I mean, he should be back this week, we believe.
I think he'll play. I think this line is expecting him to be there.
Yes,
I'll tell you that.
I think so. This is a 7:30 p.m. Eastern time game on ESPN, by the way. I think I would take Georgia Southern here, but these teams are so sporadic. I don't know which way to lean on it. So I'm not going to tell you a lean just yet. If I find something,
I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing for this game or the next game.
Well, the other Thursday night game, and we'll hit that right now. That would be 157-158. Colorado State heading to Fresno State. Fresno opened a 2-point favorite that has swung all the way back over, and Steve Adazio's boys.
It's 1 or 1.5.
Yeah, they are now favored. Colorado State, the Rams, are giving up a point and a half already.
In a matter of hours, this line has moved a lot of points, and I wonder, is that some of these books didn't like where it opened at, and so they just made their own number, or?
I mean, it's possible.
I don't know. That's rare for that to happen.
I don't know what to take of. I mean, Fresno got beat by Hawaii, but I think Hawaii could be pretty good this year.
Yeah, they could be excited. We don't know anything about any of these teams after one game so far.
Yeah, I do like Kalen DeBoer, the coach at Fresno State, but
yes.
I mean, this is another one of those where it's like, all right, let's just hang out a little bit and see.
I love Adazio. I'm a little worried about Adazio because offseason we had a pretty rocky entrance into Colorado State. To say the least.
Woo. You have got that right. That's a 10 p.m. Eastern time.
That's a
CBS Sports Night.
Thursday night kick. I am not going to make much of this game.
I will do my absolute best. I don't think I'll make it.
My Friday, I got a 3-job Friday. I'm not going to make this one.
I can understand it. But hey, you said Friday. Let's move into it. Let's talk about, first off, Marshall at FIU. Look. 105, 106 is the rotation. This is 7 p.m. Eastern time on CBS Sports Network, so 6 p.m. God's time zone, right? Marshall opens 22.5 as the favorite. It's already up to 23.5 at some books. FIU got beat at home by Jacksonville State last week, and it was not fluky. FIU had 165 yards of total offense.
FIU will not score in this game.
I think they'll score. I think it will be fluke, garbage, BS.
I know. Marshall doesn't give up garbage.
They did against FAU a little bit.
It wasn't garbage. FAU scored a little on them. That's okay, though. They didn't score much.
This is a ton of points. It's a ton of points here. Total of 47, by the way, to open. I still like Marshall. I still like Marshall.
They didn't cover last week. They gave up 9 points last week.
Yeah, there's nothing in this that tells me.
Go look at their rotation. I think the most they've given up this year is 17.
I think that's right.
And that's to teams way better than FIU.
Yes, their defense is legit. Moving on from there, let's talk about Minnesota and Maryland. This is rotation 131-132. Minnesota opened a 17.5-point favorite, total of 62.5. This is 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN on Friday night, and it opened at 17.5.
You're not getting 17.5 now. Yeah. It is Sunday evening when we're recording this.
20.5.
Whoo, 3 points in a matter of hours.
So everybody caught on to the fact that Maryland is not real good at the foosball. That team is hot garbage right now.
They're bad.
I mean, they are so
really
bad.
They're really bad.
In Minnesota?
But I'll tell you this, they'll score on Minnesota because that Northwestern defense is in the conversation as a top 3 defense in that division. In that conference. In that conference. That's what I meant. Not division. In the conference.
And Minnesota has got they've got that stank in their mouth right now.
No, Minnesota's going to score. I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to whip them. But I definitely think Maryland is going to score. Loxley is an offensive guy. I definitely think Maryland's offense isn't as bad as they looked Saturday. It's hard for people who don't follow Northwestern to hear this. Northwestern's defense is really, really good.
Yes, they are. Every single season, even last year.
Even last year when that offense was putrid and they were on the field forever, they were still real good. Now, they don't have to play many snaps. They're just getting after it, and they make it almost impossible to do anything. Minnesota won't have that ability. Minnesota will score like nobody's standing there.
I think they will in this game, for sure.
Yes.
I think they will. So I don't know about if I was going to take it, I would certainly take it after or before it gets to 21.
No, yeah,
but by the time this comes out, it might be 21.
The point spread is the ultimate equalizer. We get more than 21 points. I do think there's a lot of value on Maryland, buying Maryland real low.
I mean, this
now, it doesn't get any lower than what you're buying them at.
This gets into,
you're buying them low.
This gets into teaser talk.
Yeah.
So last game on Friday night, Hawaii heading to Wyoming. That's what I'm talking about. Is it going to be windy in Laramie?
I don't know. I bet is it going to be a lot of snow? They play in that little dome?
No, Wyoming plays just out in the middle of a pasture.
It's Idaho that plays in that weird dome.
Yes.
It's not like a real dome where they built the stadium. It's like a tent.
It's like a silo.
They made a dome.
Like they play in a silo.
Okay. I got my listen.
But Wyoming,
getting Wyoming and Idaho mixed up is not an unforgivable sin.
Nothing wrong with that at all. No, Wyoming plays in the middle of like a cow pasture out in Laramie.
Then there's a really good chance they could not just get wind, they could get a lot of snow.
And this is a team that would like to beat up on you. I love Craig Bowl. I love what they are doing. I'm still, I know Hawaii got the win at Fresno last week. Todd Graham terrifies me.
In a beautiful part of the world.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's not Wyoming. Not that Wyoming's not beautiful.
Agreed.
Hawaii is not going to be used to this.
No, not in the slightest. 9:45 p.m. Eastern time on FS1 is when this game is. I forgot a game. I did not write a game down.
Eastern Carolina, Tulsa.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's go ahead and so Hawaii and Wyoming.
It opened at Hawaii.
Hawaii 1.5.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
It's now 2.5.
It's now 2.5.
People love Hawaii. I would
just be careful.
Yeah, be careful with that one.
Wyoming, I don't have a lean either way. This is a game I'm going to stay away from. I just need to see a little bit more of both these teams.
Yes, and then finally, this is the last game, and it actually starts 45 minutes earlier, 9 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2, and that would be East Carolina heading to Tulsa, who looks absolutely legit.
Nobody is buying Tulsa. This line opened up huge. I get it, so it's hard to buy Tulsa laying a big number. East Carolina has not been good at all this year.
Oh, hold on. If Houston Ehlers is playing, then yeah, I think he's going to be just fine. Like East Carolina can score. Yes, I believe.
Can they score on Tulsa?
Yes, I believe
because nobody has scored on Tulsa.
Here's the thing: Well, all right, so UCF had multiple opportunities to, and they shot themselves in the foot. Okay. East Carolina doesn't really do that. I think because they're able to throw the football really well, I think they're going to be able to score.
Wrong.
No, it's not that I think it's wrong. I think
that's 18.5 points.
I think that's why the line hasn't moved yet. I think people understand, like, hey, East Carolina could easily keep this within 18.5. Like, I love Mike Houston. Maybe I'm a little biased. Maybe.
Nobody has scored on Houston yet.
On Tulsa.
On Tulsa yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mike Houston is the...
A lot of people score on Tulsa. On Houston, I mean. Nobody has scored on... And you can say, oh, well, they shot themselves in the foot. Or Tulsa took the ball away. Or Tulsa made them make mistakes because they constantly put pressure on you.
I mean, false start penalties aren't really...
No, false start penalties are something. I mean,
if
an offensive lineman is getting whipped all day long, yeah, jumping off sides early, that happens constantly, Gary.
Maybe so.
I think this Tulsa defense is real. I think Tulsa says, I can't build my team like UCF and Memphis and SMU. I'm going to build it like Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's possible.
And I'm going to play a game in a phone booth, and we're going to slow this thing down and try to scoring 40 against everybody. Let's just try to keep the game in the 20s.
I can't wait to watch it. I will say that. I think this is going to be a very interesting game.
I have no idea how Tulsa covers a 20-point line because they just don't score 20.
Exactly.
They just don't score 20.
I mean, they did against South Florida, but a lot of that was with some help.
South Florida's bad.
Yeah, I know. And I don't think East Carolina's that bad.
East Carolina's not. I don't think East Carolina's good. No. But they're not South Florida.
But they're not that bad. Let's move into Saturday, Halloween. Let's talk about the noon slate. All right, let's open up with a little terrifying game here. Boston College headed to Clemson. Clemson opens a 31.5-point favorite, 59.5 total. This is on ABC at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. the Lord's time zone, of course. Boston College got a massive, massive win over Georgia Tech last week. I don't think that matters. It's 31.5 still, 32 at Bovada as we're looking at it currently. Total of 59.5, I would imagine that is going to go up. Because this is not somebody that Dabo is going to want to run the score up on. So they'll both be able to score. This may be one of those sleepwalking kind of days, kind of like they had against Syracuse. They might be sleepwalking the rest of the season until they get to Notre Dame. Like, there's no, I don't feel like there's any challenge here.
If they sleepwalk through, they gave up 21 points to one of the worst offenses, not in the ACC, in all of college football.
Yes.
If that defense falls asleep against BC, that offense better be able to flip a switch, and they better be able to. And I know they can.
Did against.
I know they can.
Syracuse.
At some point in time, one of these teams that knows how to score is going to jump up on you, and they're just not going to get off you.
Yeah, it's hence why I called it a terrifying game. A frightening game.
And we don't really think Boston College can win the game.
No.
But the ultimate equalizer is the point spread. And 30 points to BC is just when I saw this number, I thought, I think this is wrong. Now I know it could be that they got the scare from Syracuse, and so now
they're woken up and they're just going to dominate.
He is going to run it up on BC just to say, hey,
this is where it gets weird. Is when you're not looking at like necessarily analytics and who the better team is, et cetera. You're just trying to figure out. All right, we know Clemson can name.
What does
score.
Dabo want to do? Yeah. That's why I hate these big numbers, is because I'm no longer picking between two teams playing at their best and what do I think is actually going to happen. I'm trying to feel, how does the coach feel today?
Yes.
And I don't like guessing that. Did he have a fight with his wife? Is his kids pissing him off? Or does his team look great in practice every day and so everything's easy? Or are they, pissing him off and being lazy in practice, and now I got to get after him during the game. So now we're going to run. Like, I don't know any of those, and they shouldn't affect how you're betting or not.
Agreed.
This is why I don't like these big numbers.
It's also why we don't really bet on Clemson anymore.
No, I mean, I've bet against them a lot.
Yeah. But this year, I mean, it hadn't been a ton. At least for me. I've stayed completely away. I used to bet against them all last year. Cost me a bunch of money.
Well, no, I mean, you just got to pick your spots. And this year I have to pick my spots.
That is true. Georgia and Kentucky. We'll move on to that.
Yeah.
195, 196 are the rotation numbers. Georgia opened a 14-point favorite. Currently, that is sitting at about 14.5, 15. Yep. You can still find a 14 out there. So there's places that you can do this. Total is 45. Kind of feel like that might be way too many points here.
I was just about to say that's not like a lot. That's
way too many
both of these teams.
Kentucky cannot score on air.
The only thing I think Kentucky's defense is pretty good, but
Georgia's not going to turn the ball over.
There's a world in which Georgia could score 30, 35, and that's when you get worried.
So at 35-10.
That's where the
total is.
That's what scares me about this is Georgia's capable if Kentucky turns the ball over, and Kentucky has shown they're definitely going to have an opportunity to turn the ball over.
Oh, you got that right. This is noon on the SEC Network. I would lean Georgia there. I just think they do what Kentucky does, only way better.
Well, yes, I'm afraid of this. I'm not going to touch this game at all.
Moving on from there, moving to noon Eastern on ESPN, we got the best G5 matchup of the weekend.
Yes, sir, we do.
Rotation 137, 138, Memphis heading to Cincinnati. The Bearcats open a 6-point favorite here, total of 60.5, and the line has moved
60.5. 6.5, sorry.
6.5. So we got a little love on Cincinnati thus far. Mm-hmm. I could see that. I mean, they dominated SMU.
I think Cincinnati plays a different style of football. I think SMU, and I'm going to say this at least one more time, SMU, Memphis, Central Florida, UCF, they all play the exact same style of football. Now, all those teams are a little different. Yeah. They all have their intricacies and their nuances that make them different. But at the end of the day, they're not a lot different. They all have very talented quarterbacks. They all have very highly offensive gifted skill players.
They run high octane tempo a little bit.
They run the exact same stuff. And Cincinnati don't play football that way. And they don't let you play football that way. And I think after seeing that mauling, the only way this number can be this small is only because there's a little bit of Cincinnati might be feeling themselves this week. And the books think they're going to come back down to earth.
It's possible.
Because I see possible. This game ended up exactly like that last game.
Yeah, I could 100%
They're just going to lay on them. They're going to wear on them for an entire half. And by the middle of the third quarter, the dam will break and the flood will come. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. We both have had faith in Memphis this year. This doesn't look like the spot to have it, though.
I have been on Cincinnati every game, and I love Luke Fickell and what this team is doing. And it's a styles make fights. And he says, y'all all play fast and athletic, and I'm going to play big and strong.
Yep.
And so far, big and strong has won.
It is true. It is true. Cincinnati, a top 10 team. So we will move on from there. On Fox, we have got a rivalry game.
Okay. In the slightest of terms, this is a rivalry game.
Rotation 109, 110. Michigan State is traveling over to Ann Arbor to face off against the Michigan Wolverines, who looked like absolute world beaters by whipping up on Minnesota in Minneapolis. Looked good with Joe Milton, the new quarterback.
I love Milton.
The rushing attack looked fantastic. That defense, I mean, they were flying around.
Will Michigan State score in this game?
I don't trust Rocky Lombardi as far as I can throw him. I will tell you that. I think they will score.
Define score.
I think
10?
I think they will have
17.
Somewhere it won't be 17. I think it's somewhere closer to like 13, 14
12.
points. 11.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting pretty close to single digits.
I'll say this. The Josh Gaddis experience at Michigan has turned out well for year 2, right?
Correct.
And we thought it would take a little bit of time to change that offense around. They might have a quarterback.
I think he's just needed a trigger man.
Well, it's not only that, but remember Gaddis brings in a whole different blocking scheme for the offense. So like
that is
the
correct.
offensive line,
the offensive line really did look like they just
improved,
playing together forever.
Yeah,
they did look like a cohesive unit. Dominating cohesive unit.
23.5 is the
opening
side for Michigan.
Nope,
opening.
That's the opening.
That's opening, and it's up to
25 and 25.5.
That feels like a ton of points.
Okay.
But if Harbaugh has taken so much crap,
I'm telling you this right now.
If he can lay it on them,
it ain't enough.
Yep.
It ain't enough.
If he can lay it on them.
Until this number starts with a 3, it ain't enough.
Good gracious.
Michigan State won't score.
So if Michigan State can't score, but you think it should be a 30-point line, 53.5 for the total?
I had to go under. Unless, hang on, but there's a world in which, do you think if Harbaugh could score 50, he's going to score 50?
Yes.
Then I don't know.
This could 100% be the Harbaugh revenge tour. If they are as good.
The State School of Rutgers, okay?
The State School of New, or the what's it? Sunge?
Yeah.
State University of New Jersey.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sunge.
Yeah. They just put it on them.
Yeah, 38 on Michigan.
Put it on them.
It could get really ugly.
Until he plays, I would say Penn State, but Penn State doesn't look very good. Until he plays Ohio State and Wisconsin, probably Penn State's still going to be okay. This is going to be the revenge tour of Michigan. This is going to be Jim Harbaugh got a lot of questions asked about his contract and all this other stuff, and guess what?
Well, I would say this. He doesn't have an extension done yet.
Nope.
And the contract runs out after
I don't think he wants it.
I don't think he does either.
Don't pay me until before Ohio State.
What does their schedule look like? I was trying to pull it up.
Oh, here. Give me a second.
I'll let you pull
You
it
keep
up.
talking, I'll pull it up.
You pull it up. I will continue to discuss it. So 53.5 is the total. It's on Fox. We'll go ahead and move on. I'll introduce the next game. What's our schedule?
I got Michigan State this week. I got Indiana next week. Indiana game's going to be fantastic. I got Wisconsin after that. Holy crap. Then I got Rutgers. Then I got Penn State. That's going to be a fantastic game. Then they're going to beat the hell out of Maryland. And then they got to go to LSU.
It sounds like a fun schedule. Now, if he can lay it on all these teams, he absolutely will.
Indiana and Wisconsin back-to-back, going to be fantastic. Fantastic games.
Yes, I do agree with that.
Go ahead.
I do agree with
rolling.
that. We got 2 more games in the noon slot. Let's go ahead and dive into them. First one up, we got Kansas State heading over to Morgantown, West Virginia. The Mountaineers are hosting. They have opened as a 3.5-point favorite in this spot. Even though Kansas State is the ranked team, they are the fancy undefeated not undefeated, but undefeated in conference. That's kind of a weird spot, kind of a weird spot for Kansas State to be in. We are looking at 3s across the board, it looks like.
Yes, sir.
I see 1 3.5.
1 3.5, but it's pretty 3 across the board. It opened at 3.5.
Did it surprise you at all that Kansas State is an underdog in this game?
No, because the Big 12 has been weird as hell. There's not a number that you can give me for any of these middle-tier Big 12 teams for one team to be favored over the other.
I think you're right.
Now, this could be a home field advantage weird thing. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's possible. It could have to do with travel. It could be the fact that Skylar Thompson, the quarterback for Kansas State, is out for the season.
Yes,
but
the replacement
Will Howard has looked good.
Has been really good, and they kind of haven't missed a beat.
And it's never been about offense with this team.
Well, that's it, because they play a different style of football.
Yes, they are defensive minded.
It's crazy that the Big 12 is getting. Listen, this is a 47-point total.
Yes.
There was a day and a time where the SEC used to have those.
That one's on ESPN2. Those were the days.
I miss those days.
I love
when
Big
my
Ten
team
football,
was really good at football.
And I love Big 12 football. We'll let you in on a little secret. We like good defense. Look, offense is fun, and
I like running
whatever.
the ball, and I kind of am getting spoiled with the way these spread offenses are running the football now.
Yes,
I'm used
zone blocking schemes.
I'm used to big hog mollies, just pushing people around and running it between the tackles, and now that's a day of the past. And zone blocking and mesh points and losing the ball in the option, I kind of really like it.
I can understand it.
All right,
let's move on. Another big G5 game. Number 20, Coastal Carolina heading over to Georgia State. That is rotation 129-130. Coastal opened a 1.5-point favorite, total of 65.5.
It's now 2.5 or 3
2.5, 3. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine it will continue to go up. But
I think so.
Georgia State is one of those teams that, even though they like to run the football, they score a lot. And Coastal, we got to see if their quarterback is going to be back this week. I imagine he would be.
I think he's going to play.
Even if he doesn't, the other one looked fine last week.
This is a really short number. We were worried about this team being the hunted, finally going into a team big-time game.
It did not
being
matter.
the favorite, and it didn't matter. They looked great. They didn't miss a beat. I was kind of expecting this line to open about the same as last one,
about a touchdown.
7.5. When I showed up and saw it was 1.5, I thought, that's a little scary.
Well, Georgia State got a win at Troy last week.
Yeah, but we don't think Troy's a very good football team, do we?
And if you just look at it, Troy's starting quarterback went out for a little while in that game. Like, I wonder if the result might have been different, But who knows? But Georgia State has been pretty good. I mean,
they have been fine. They've been
fine,
pretty
good. I've been very surprised, pleasantly surprised. We'll say that. So I think this is going to end up being a really fun matchup. It's on ESPNU. Let's move into the afternoon slate now, and we will start with a game that is not even on network television or cable television or whatever. You have to have the ESPN Plus streaming service to get it.
It's a shame.
That would be the Central Florida Knights heading to Houston, Texas to face good old Dana Holgerson's Cougars.
This is going to be a great game that nobody's going to get to watch.
Well, there will be some people that get to watch it, but this is what ESPN is trying to do. They are getting the Big 12 and the AAC to sign these contracts so that they have some pretty interesting games on the streaming service so that more people will sign up for it. So I get where they're coming from because ESPN is basically hemorrhaging money, and if you have a direct-to-pay or direct-to-consumer service, that's an easier way to go about it. And what better way to do it than have good live football games on it so that people have to have the service to be able to get to it. So either way, UCF opens a 3.5-point favorite. 76.5 is the total. I don't know if that's enough points.
I was just about to say.
These two teams can score, and they will try and one-up each other regularly, I think.
This is definitely going to be one of those matchups between coaches who like to show off.
Yes. This is 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, by the way, on ESPN Plus, like we talked about. Lean on this one. I mean, it opened 3.5. It's now sitting at 3 pretty much across the board.
I got no idea.
I got no idea either.
I'm going to have this on the iPad, and I'm dying. I'm going to watch a lot of this game.
I think I might do the same.
This is going to be a fun one.
I mean,
we just talked about how we like defense, we like running the football. No, this is going to be a lot of fun. This ain't going to be none of that. No, they're both going to run the ball, though.
Oh, yeah, they'll run the ball. This will be ping pong on grass.
Yes.
Like, that's 100%. It's just back and forth, and we'll see who ends up with the ball last, I suppose. Moving on from there, let's dive into an ACC. I was going to say AAC. That would be a strange thing here. But we'll move into an ACC tilt, which is strange to even still discuss it that way. But 123-124 rotation, Notre Dame heading to Atlanta to face off against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech got their brains beat in by Boston College last week. So now, of course, Notre Dame comes in here as only a 20-point favorite, and the line is going down.
Going down.
It is going down.
18, but it's 19 pretty much across the board.
19 across the board, and total of 56.5. Notre Dame, I would imagine their defense will be able to hold Georgia Tech at bay. They will be able to get turnovers, and that's where this thing could get ugly. And I think that could possibly bust the over here. If you get turnovers, you start scoring at will, whatever. I imagine Georgia Tech is explosive enough to be able to get
a few scores,
a couple of scores here and there, right?
So that's going to be the thing is to score on Notre Dame unless you're equal talent to them. And a lot of these teams they've been playing, there's not. They're not giving up points to anybody.
Yeah.
Because you're not going on long drives on them. You have to get big, busted plays. That's the only way you're scoring on them.
Yeah.
We do think that Georgia Tech, good quarterback, has the ability to maybe make a play or two.
Yes. Sims, the freshman quarterback, like I like him. It's going to take a little time.
I do too.
But I do believe that Notre Dame's defensive line is going to completely shut down their offensive line.
Yeah, I think the only way they're going to score is on busted plays. Just somebody miss an assignment, guys open deep, hit them hard, and let them go.
No, you're right about that. That game is on ABC, by the way. That's a 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time game. Moving on from there, and this should be a very interesting ball game because of news that we got today, recording on Sunday, of course. 165, 166 rotation numbers. Wisconsin heading to Nebraska. 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Fox, on FS1, and the line opened 10, and I really thought it would be way more than that until I saw what happened. 58.5. Wisconsin quarterback Graham Mertz, who was 20 out of 21 last week for like 260 or 270 something yards, 4 touchdowns. Good. No, 5 touchdowns, wasn't it? I mean, it was just absurd. Like highest passer rating really you could possibly have if the guy had caught
he basically had a perfect game.
Yes. It was unbelievable. They destroyed Illinois. And Nebraska's defense ain't real good.
No.
So, but then you find out that Graham Mertz tested positive for COVID this morning. That would put Wisconsin down to their third-string quarterback because Jack Cohn was scheduled. He was last year's starter. He was supposed to be the starter this year. Graham Mertz was a highly talented, sophomore? I guess it'd be redshirt freshman this year.
Yes.
He was the guy everybody believed would end up being the guy. And now, I don't even know who the third-string guy is.
I don't either.
And it's not that I still think Nebraska, I think Wisconsin could still win the game, but it might be closer to this 10 as opposed to 3 touchdowns, which is what I thought it would be.
Yes.
So, if we don't know about the quarterback situation, do you just take your chance on Wisconsin here? Are you ever going to find it lower than 10?
You're not going to find it lower than 10. This is the number. 96% of the action's already come in on Nebraska.
Everybody knows about the Mertz news.
Every Nebraska fan in the world's like, this is our chance to cover a game. So, no, I would rather wait. I'd rather pay a higher price, but know who's playing.
That's true.
I think that's what I would rather have.
I think that makes sense. Good gracious.
It does suck, though, after he put on the performance that he put on now.
Yeah.
Because of the Big Ten guidelines, 21 days, he's going to miss 3 games in an 8-game schedule.
Now they're waiting on a second test to confirm it. If that one comes back negative, then he has to have 3 negatives in a row. There's all kind of
There's
stuff.
A world in which he can play this week.
Possibly. Maybe. We'll see. The way the Big Ten stuff is set up is just crazy.
Don't like it.
Just crazy.
Don't like it.
Moving on, let's talk some SEC football. And this looked like a massive game at the beginning of the season, and now we're not really sure exactly what it is, but I do know this. The names have some cachet, so we'll go from there. And I think it could get wacky because wacky stuff always happens on the plane. So
I definitely think this game's going to be entertaining.
181, 182 rotation numbers. LSU and the Bayou Bengals headed over to the Auburn War Eagle Tigers, whatever.
Come on,
they are.
Come on now.
Who got them another victory last week based on.
I'm not going to let you make fun of the names.
I'm just messing around.
Because I do love the War Eagle.
Hey, the War Eagle is
cool.
Oh my
gosh.
But they
Watching
got a War
that
Eagle.
thing fly around that stadium is pretty amazing.
It's true. I can't say I'm an Alabama fan. I can't say anything because we got a damn elephant as a mascot, and we're the Crimson Tide, so it's whatever. So they are the Tigers with a War Eagle and
the story behind the War Eagle, everything.
Yeah, it's
I don't
really
make
good.
fun of them for having the 2 mascot thing because I really like it. I wish my school had a War Eagle. I like birds of prey. It's a weird thing. Go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good.
Talk about the game.
This is a fantastic rivalry matchup. Typically a really good game every year.
It's going to be a really good game this year, I think.
Especially when it's in Jordan-Hare. It's always a good game in Jordan-Hare for whatever reason. There's crazy spirits that live in that stadium. I swear to God.
This is the place Les got fired. That hurt.
It is, but again, that
cried
kind of goes with what I was talking about, right?
I cried that night so bad. Didn't handle it well at all.
3:30 p.m. Eastern time on CBS, and I wouldn't imagine Ed O is going to get fired this weekend.
No, unless it gets caught in something personal that's bad.
Doubt that's going to happen.
Ed is not getting fired.
Auburn opened a 1-point favorite here, total of 62.5. That has completely flipped sides. LSU is now a 2-point favorite on the road, and I cannot tell you the last time that happened.
We have a weird situation here with a team flipping favorites. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Well, I can tell you this. LSU looked really good last week, and Auburn has not looked really good in a game.
True.
So there is a world if certain calls go another way,
I love
Auburn
Miles,
is 0-5. So
I love Miles Brennan. Love Miles Brennan. Okay.
Coach O said that there's no quarterback controversy. Did you see that?
Yeah. Love Miles Brennan. We got a controversy, all right, my brother.
TJ Finley looked good, man. That team played hard, and it looked like they were playing for him.
243. Oh,
Built like a linebacker.
Lord. He took my breath away.
Yes, he did.
I did love it.
I do think the line is moving in the correct direction. I would take LSU to win this weekend. I think they are the significantly better team, the more talented team.
Complete stay away.
I love them in this spot.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to hope to not cry.
I think
just
karma.
win the ball game.
I think karma. I think the rabbit's foot runs out.
I don't know, man. I've played teams that got horseshoes up their butt before, and it's just tough.
Auburn they certainly seem like one of those teams, don't they?
It's tough.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
I'll tell you this. Tank's going to have a big game.
Yeah, probably so.
Tank's going to have a big game. We're not stopping him.
No, I think LSU will have trouble stopping the run.
If
sure.
they are smart, they will not stop running the football. And we know Gus will run the football every play. What was that SEC title game that they won a couple of years back?
Against Missouri?
Against Missouri, when he said –
that was like 2013, right?
They ran the ball every play in the first half, but like 3 or 4. And the halftime press conference was what do you need to do different in the second half? And he said, we got to run the ball more. We got to run we threw it way too much.
It was like 4 passes.
When he knows he has something you can't stop, he's not Kirby Smart.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? He's going to stick with it. If he's really smart, he's going to hand the ball to Tank and any other running back they got over and over and over.
The player
again.
that LSU needs to worry about running the ball is Bo Nix. Like, Bo Nix is a good
no,
quarterback,
but that's it. We can't stop the run.
Agreed.
And that outside edge is going to be there all day for all of them. So,
I think
I am afraid of that.
I can understand it. I do think that you start getting a little crazy with Gus Malzahn, and it can bite you. But
I just hope Chad Morris is calling plays.
Well,
because Gus will run the ball down the
yes,
throat over and over and over
he
again.
will.
Chad, he's an idiot. He won't do it.
Moving on, let's move on to the Big Ten.
Hang on. What do you think of this total at 62.5?
I think that makes perfect sense. Neither defense is very good this year.
I think thought that was enough points.
I don't think it is either.
We're going to score 35 to 40 on everybody.
I wouldn't say everybody,
Well,
but
I
think y'all could certainly do that.
We have so far.
Yes. You're talking about Mississippi State and Vanderbilt and South Carolina and Missouri. So I don't know that you will do it on everybody.
So who's got a good defense that we won't score it on? Ole Miss, A&M, Alabama.
I think A&M and Alabama will be able to play keep away a little bit longer.
No, y'all won't. You're going to score in 5 plays.
We'll see.
Either
way, this has nothing to do with today's show. This ain't. We can argue about LSU later. I'm think about the total in this game for sure, because I think it will end up being a shootout of some sort.
I think it's way short.
That's what I'm saying. I think
probably
going over.
Points.
Probably going over.
Sorry, move on.
Let's move on.
Sorry.
Let's move on. You're good. You're good. You are passionate, and I appreciate that. I certainly do. Northwestern and Iowa coming to you live from Iowa City at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. It's rotation 161-162. Iowa opens a 3.5-point favorite, even though they got beat by Purdue last week, and the total is 48. I'm a little shocked here. It's come back down some, right? 3 is what I'm seeing pretty much across the board.
It's 3 across the board.
So let me get thoughts here. Is Iowa like the perfect matchup to be able to stop Northwestern?
We're going to find out if Northwestern's offense is real.
I think they are.
I do too, but I'm also incredibly biased. I love this football team. I'm going to tell you what I honestly, truly think. Iowa ain't going to score.
You think so?
Yeah. Iowa's offense looked bad.
Yeah, they certainly were not.
Purdue's defense is not good by any metric you measure things by, and they didn't look good against them.
That's true. They're not going to be able to do it against
Iowa.
Northwestern.
Is not. I don't know that Northwestern's going to put up 40 on Iowa. Okay.
No, this reeks of a 17-10 ball game.
But no, that might be. I think Northwestern can score more than that. There's no world where Iowa's getting 20 in this game. that this defense for Northwestern is good, and Northwestern's offense is not going to turn. One thing I know about Pat Fitzgerald, they're not going to turn the ball over.
That's true.
You're not going to get extra possessions by them. They won't beat themselves. Iowa's not scoring in this game. They're going to have a hard time coming up with points. I think 48's a lot.
Yeah, the total seems like a lot.
And I think Iowa's defense is real, so Northwestern's going to come back down to earth a little bit offensively.
Yes.
48 seems – both of these teams hitting the 20s seems like a fairy tale. If
Northwestern
Northwestern hit it, I would feel – I could think that could happen. I think that could happen. There's not a world – that tells me I think the wrong team's favored here. I know I'm biased. I know I love this Northwestern team. That defense is really good. Iowa struggled to score against Purdue. I know I just said that. They're not going to score much on Northwestern. And it won't be we got to turn over in short fields and that stuff because Northwestern just doesn't do that.
You might be right. Last game of the afternoon for us to hit on here. Texas and Oklahoma State. Rotation 163, 164, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Oklahoma State, massive win over Iowa State last week. Texas.
It's a 4 o'clock game.
Is it?
4 o'clock.
I'll be darned. Okay.
I got 4 o'clock.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, okay,
I
think you're right.
To make sure I'm not seeing the wrong thing.
No, it's all good. I don't know what I wrote down earlier, but
no, it's okay.
Either way, it's on Fox.
Yes, Fox was right.
So it is good to go. That'll be your afternoon game. If you tune in at 3:30, you just get to watch the pregame. So either way, Oklahoma State opens a 3.5-point favorite with a total of 58. They are still at home in Stillwater again. And it's now down to 3 at a lot of spots. It's still 3.5 at some spots. Gundy has had Texas's number. This is a team that he loves to play. Texas got the win last year.
Yeah.
I think they can match up and play with Oklahoma State this year. Now, Oklahoma State, Texas looked good
against Baylor. They looked
against
really
Baylor.
Good. They did look good against. Now we think Baylor might be a bad team, though, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
and
that's
and
okay.
The Dave Aranda punting from the Texas 30-yard line.
No, I don't understand it. Listen, I get it. I don't get it.
He's
saw it.
Trying to play chess.
He's not. It's okay. It's all right. Listen,
I don't know what they're doing.
I love people that aren't good at their jobs all the time.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
So it's okay.
I
if he wants to come back to LSU at any point in time, he'll be welcome with open arms.
There you go.
And we'll pay him just as much money as he's making right now. You need $5 million to be a DC? We got it.
I'll
come up
$5 million. Good Lord.
You wouldn't pay it?
No, I would not pay that.
I would.
That's absurd.
I would pay it.
That is absurd. Anyway, Texas, Oklahoma State.
Call me.
Tom Herman. Now, they have not looked good in back against the wall situations, but they seem to find themselves in them
a lot.
Every other week, at least. So I don't know what to make of this. I do feel like Texas and their talent and the way that their scheme sets up does match up fairly well against what Oklahoma State does.
Agreed.
So I do still think that Oklahoma State is the best team in the Big 12. But with a massive game last week against Iowa State, and then next week they've got another big game, like how emotionally
going through
up
the
can you get?
This is where they're at. This is where this team is going to be made and won and lost. I didn't think anybody could run the table in the Big 12. I thought everybody would come out with a few bruises and a few blemishes. This could be the opportunity for Oklahoma State to go down and get a loss. I really don't want it to happen here.
Totally
Mainly because Texas fans aren't nice to me. And I like Gundy a lot. I do like Gundy a lot.
That's true.
And I like this Oklahoma State team. I kind of like the new look Pokes.
Oh, they're fun. It's a good team.
I like good defense, and I kind of like the offense that they're running. It's not super high powered. It's not up tempo. They are slowing the game down, but they're still stretching the field when they can. I kind of like this Oklahoma State team.
No, that makes sense.
Texas's offense is really good. Just in case anybody was wondering, they're still really good.
Yes, and they've got a lot of good football players.
Yes.
And all this, it's going to be.
It's not going to be as easy as it has been. Brocktober is a thing, maybe, I don't know. This is a better offense than that. This is a far superior, talented group than that.
It is true. So this would not surprise me if Texas gets the win.
Not
Obviously, I'm going to have to dive in more before I tell you which way I'm leaning on it. But this.
I'm 100% telling you this is probably going to be a stay away for me.
But
and it's only a stay away because I think the play's Texas, and I'm not playing Texas.
That makes sense.
I'm not doing
Let's dive into the evening games. Let me remind everybody, go ahead and like the video. Make sure you are subscribed, of course. Leave some comments, all that good stuff. Make sure, because we're not going to hit on every game today. No. We've already told you this before, but follow us on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Christopher Giannini.
We will respond to everything. So if you got a question on a game that we did not hit for whatever reason, one, we will try and hit it on the Saturday show. Yep. The deep dives on Tuesday are for the bigger games of the weekend.
Our personal picks.
Yes, and our personal picks. So the Saturday show, we will certainly do that. But if you got a question about a game, say one of these Thursday or Friday games, hit us up on Twitter, and we will knock that bad boy out. So we will respond and let you know which way we're leaning, whether we're playing it or not, why we might not be, et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about the evening slate. We're going to try and run through these quickly because we are already sitting at 50 minutes. Let's start out with Boise State and Air Force, 151-152. Boise State opened a 9-point favorite, and it has climbed ever so slightly to 10.5 or 11 in just a few short hours. Yeah. People were not impressed with Air Force at all. That was not good.
No.
So, what they did against San Jose State, I can understand why people were not impressed. This is a 6 p.m. Eastern time game on CBS Sports Network. Boise looks like the real deal. They are legit. If anybody could equalize that, it would be Air Force. But my lean as we sit here right now would have to be Boise State. So I would continue following that line until it gets to like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I like Boise this year. This is a team that looks like they're on a mission.
I think so too.
Moving on from that, let's dive into, I'm not going to say a big SEC game, but we'll say, an interesting Halloween night game for sure. You got Nick Saban on his birthday hosting Mike Leach. Mississippi State headed to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to face off against the Crimson Tide, and Alabama opened a 32.5-point favorite at home. Total of 62.5, and look, if Alabama is going to win by 32 points, that total will not get to 62.5.
No.
So
that means Mississippi State didn't score.
Right, and that's if Alabama wins by 32.5, it will be absolutely because State did not score.
Yes.
And I don't believe Alabama's going to put up 62.5 points or whatever on this Mississippi State defense. I just don't see it.
Yep.
So maybe I'm crazy. I think this ends up being closer to like a 41-10 kind of game, and that does not get you a cover. I'm not necessarily saying to play one side or the other because anything could happen in this game. Pick sixes tend to be frequent with Mississippi State.
Yep.
And that Alabama secondary, as inexperienced as they may be, there are ball hawks on them. So I'd be a little terrified of that. I would just that total is crazy. I would probably stay away from this game, but if you're going to play it, like play the under. Good gracious. I'll probably dive deeper into that as we go along, but either way, we'll move on to the ABC big time game for the evening, and that would be Ohio State traveling to Happy Valley. It's a rotation 135-136. Ohio State opened a 9.5-point favorite, total of 61.5, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. That line opened at 9.5. You ain't getting that one anymore. As it sits right now, as we are recording this, 12.5, 13 at some spots already. I would like Ohio State anything under 2 touchdowns, and even then, the biggest thing that I found, and if you dive into statistics and all these advanced metrics and everything else, you found that Penn State was able to move the football, but they just could not get the ball in the end zone. They couldn't score. They had field goal problems. They had this and that. All of these little things will cost you dearly against Ohio State. Dearly against Ohio State.
You make mistakes against them, they will capitalize every time.
And it will get ugly. Incredibly ugly. And I don't care if they're playing at Penn State. It is going to get ridiculous. So I still trust Penn State and that offense. Sorry, I still trust Ohio State and that offense. Even against this Penn State defense, which gave up 36 points, even on only giving up like 200 and however many yards of total offense. Like, Indiana was able to score points on Penn State without moving the football. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Ohio State will not have that problem. So I'm all over Ohio State here. I don't think that line is big enough. Whatever the first half line is, I'm probably rolling with that too. Total of 61.5. I don't. What do you feel here?
I don't know because there's a world where Penn State doesn't score a lot. Ohio State's defense, they're not vaulted. They're not crazy, but Penn State's offense didn't look like anything special to me.
I mean, I kind of feel the same way.
That's my fears. I'll be staying away from this total. Ohio State's the play. I told you last week they have to keep pace with Alabama and Clemson. Those are the two teams they are playing this year. It ain't anybody else on their schedule. They have to blow people out.
This is true. Moving into the night slate on the SEC Network, and that would be the Arkansas Razorbacks heading over to Texas A&M. It's the first time in several years that this game has actually not been played in Jerry World in Arlington. This will be played on campus at Texas A&M, Kyle Field in College Station. Should be a fun time. Opened at 11.5 in favor of Texas A&M. It's rotation 191, 192. 56.5 total. That sounds right. That sounds about right.
Sounds right to me.
Texas A&M, it was 11.5. It is now down to 10.5. A lot of believers in Arkansas right now.
Yep.
Barry Odom is one hell of a defensive coordinator.
Yes,
I will say that. And they do have the one thing that Arkansas certainly has. They have linebackers that can cover.
Yes.
And they have safeties that can cover. So the middle of the field is absolutely going to be taken away in this spot. That could lead to trouble for Kellen Mond because that's where he loves to throw the football. He likes
throwing the football there. That could lead to turnovers. Arkansas has done a really good job. I think they've won the turnover battle in every game but Georgia.
I believe that's right. Yep. And this is a big thing. Arkansas plays very efficiently. They play very wise. They play smart football. Fundamental
Felipe
smart
Franks is
football.
going to give you an opportunity to take the ball away a couple of times.
Oh, yes.
That's going to happen.
I do think the line moving down, probably the smart play here. I would still take Arkansas right now.
At double digits, I'm taking Arkansas.
I do like this spot for them.
I do too.
So I think Texas A&M still might think that this is a kind of an easy win.
Yep.
It's anything but that right now.
I think so too.
So, and that said, last game of the evening, and this is another one of those SEC Network alternate games, and good old Dan Mullen is going to have his boys ready to roll, and who knows how many of them are actually out for this game. Who knows, anything about this, but Missouri is traveling to Gainesville to take on the Florida Gators. 193, 194 rotation numbers. Florida opened an 11.5-point favorite. What's that line sitting at now? 13. Florida by 13, and I think that is just crazy.
Yeah, it's too many
I think that is way too many because I think Florida's defense is not very good, and Missouri has now shown with Connor Bazelak, their quarterback, that they can put up points and they can score on teams. They ran 93 plays against Kentucky. 93. Now, they didn't put up a ton of points, but this ain't Kentucky's defense they're playing against this week.
No, this defense is way worse.
Florida's defense is comparable to LSU's defense,
That's right.
I believe.
That's right. They're very similar football teams.
So
score a lot, don't stop anybody.
Exactly. And in that spot, like 61.5 for a total.
Ole Miss, Florida, and LSU look scarily similar.
Yeah. 61.5 total?
61.5 total, I think, is short.
I think it might be.
The only fear is this. Is there any way during the bye week, Florida's had 2 weeks off, right?
Yes.
Is there any chance that Grantham, because we do think Grantham's a pretty good coach. There was a day and a time where he was a joke.
But
his last couple of years at Mississippi State with Dan and his first couple of years with Dan, has he corrected it? Because LSU's defense did correct some things with their week off. Is there any world where he's getting this ship righted, corrected, back on path? I don't know how the hell you want to say that.
I don't know how you would. I don't know how you want to say it either. I don't think that this is a thing that can be fixed this season. Okay, I think it is a recruiting issue.
It's a talent thing.
I think it's a talent issue.
Man, I think Florida's got 4 stars all over the field.
They do, but I think that the guys that fit his scheme, he does not have in there right now.
Don't they have DBs that are like their whole secondaries like NFL guys?
Yes, but I don't know that it's necessarily that. If a quarterback has all day to sit back in the pocket, he can pick apart anybody.
Yeah, okay, that is true. The way offenses are ran now,
losing Jonathan Grenard last year,
if you don't get pressure, you can't stop people throwing the football. Okay,
because defense
that's
is inherently reactionary,
Yeah.
and offense is the aggressor. That's why things have been different this season. So
it might not be a Grantham issue. It might be a personnel issue. I didn't think of that.
So Grenard was their best pass rusher last year, and they lost
doubt.
another couple of guys as well to graduation, whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, C.J. Henderson losing him, there's nobody that can replace him. He was the best cornerback in the country last year.
That's
so aside from maybe Derek Stingley, who hadn't looked great this season, but
he was sick and
different situation.
He's been hurt.
Yeah. So I mean, for one, I think the total is short. And for two,
I still think the total is short. My only fear with the total and my only fear with Missouri is,
does Grantham get it fixed?
If Florida comes back after 2 weeks of not playing football and looks different on defense, I'm not worried about their offense. The Cows are going to be fine. I think that's the only thing that scares me.
And that does make sense.
If that defense isn't right, this game is an over in a Missouri cover, and I think that's not close. I think this is a one-score game, and they're both putting up points.
And it's whoever gets the ball last.
It might not be whoever gets the ball last, but it's a healthy, always one score up.
I will say that I have not seen anything from Florida that makes me believe that they can get this turned around. But, I mean, who knows? The issue here is LSU got it turned around against a team that cannot stretch the field. Absolutely cannot stretch the field, and that's been their biggest problem, right?
Missouri can stretch.
Missouri can absolutely stretch the field.
Running the football down people's throats.
Oh, they can run it too, but they can
run
stretch
it on
it.
Florida?
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think they can.
I am interested in watching.
With that said, you guys know what to do. If we didn't hit on your game, hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Christopher Giannini.
You can also head over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Our crew over there is fantastic. The guys behind the scenes here are fantastic as well. Over on the website, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF, they're going to deep dive into a ton of games. So go and check it out. Everything you need to know about the college football universe, you can find right there. As far as this video goes, make sure that you like the video. Again, a little thumbs up button right there. We would appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave your comments. Let us know where your edges are this week, what you see. If somebody got hurt and we ain't talked about it or whatever, let us know. We'd love to hear this news, man. We want to know what's happening. We want to know what's happening. And, of course, if you want to win some money, do yourself a favor. sbrpicks.com/pick6. That is PICK6. All of these links, etc., can be found right down in the description. Again, leave your comments. Make sure you like the video. Of course, all that stuff helps us out in a big, big way. You guys have been fantastic. Anything else we need to hit? I think we're good. All right. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you all again on Tuesday.